Target tiptem aglo arawetab mut kenyitab 2026 chamgei chitab Kalenjin itagat ang logoiwekab emet chebo Asai TV Kenya ako nesomonwo ko Gladys Lembuche. Kitaune logoiwechutok kole kaindochi rubeiwotab kandoindetab emoni Kithure Kindiki yatetab International Sugar Organization Conference nekakiyat eng Diani County nebo Kwale ole kamite kandoik alak chebo emotunwekab sang ak minister nebo kabatisiet eng emoni Mutai Kagwe eng kwenutab kandoik alak koib kasaratan Kithure Kindiki kolos minutikab miwek eng nekamwa kole kiboisien eng atkain tugul. Kates komwa kole tesetai serikalitab emoni kondochin Dr. William Ruto kotetei tetutik chekikonoptoi kabatisiet eng emoni.
Ladies and gentlemen, sugar is far more than a commodity. It is a covenant between a nation and its people, as it is consumed in almost, if not every home in our nations. Sugar is an important ingredient to most of our foodstuff. It is utilized in immense volumes daily in the baking of pastries, brewing of beverages, sweetening our lives, and providing the much-needed energy. Every hectare of sugarcane that sways in the breeze anywhere in the world represents a family's livelihood. Every ton of sugar that reaches the market represents labor, hope, and investment of thousands of men and women who rise before dawn to tend their farms. This is the deeper meaning of what we do when we gather in forums such as this one. We are not just discussing a crop or a market. We are discussing the dignity of farming communities, the resilience of developing economies, and the future of millions of people across Africa, Asia, Latin America, and elsewhere in the world. The government of Kenya, in this administration of William Ruto, President of Kenya, made a deliberate choice to transform this subsector in several ways. One, restructuring the Sugar Board to make it leaner, more transparent, and more effective. Two, engaging with millers on clear performance standards. Three, bringing in the private sector to provide investments to run our sugar mills, as the Minister for Agriculture of the Republic of Kenya has just said. We have also, in this administration, initiated the revival of state-owned factories through leasing these factories to the private sector.
Eng kasaratak komwa minister nebo kabatisiet Mutai Kagwe kole eng kenyisiek aeng chekikosirto kokikomuch kokimit minet ak kelchin nebo miwek. Kates komwa ine kole tesetai emoni kokimite noton eng amune notok nebo kamanut miwek ak tiengei biikab boror cheite milionisiek 6 eng emoni minutikab miwek.
I think I need not repeat what has been mentioned here about the importance of the sugar sector in our nation and the 6 million people whose livelihoods depend directly on the sugar sector. But I also want to say that the cooperation between the county governments and the national government, which is a structure of management of agriculture in Kenya, has been particularly fruitful in the last 2 years or so. We have discovered, and I'm sure there are many models here, from various countries will be different models on how to manage the sugar sector. And we are here, I believe, as part of the conference, to also learn from each other what the best practice is. In Kenya, for example, we discovered that the private sector is a much stronger player, a much more efficient player in the sugar sector than the government sector. In this country, our experience is that the private sector has been very, very efficient, and I want to thank the private sector players in Kenya and both those from Kenya and those from outside the country who have invested in our nation and have reaped benefits from the investments in the sugar sector. And to say to the international community who are represented here today that we continue to seek for other investors.
Ageng logoiwek alak ko koigochi anan kibagengeit netononjin lewenishet Sami Ngodho fomishek anan kartasok chotok chebo nomination eng nekiibelis eng chamaitab DCP eng nomination nekikiyai eng kot neking'ate ng'atutik nebo Olkalau. Kayaga niton kosubkei ak nekiibet ichek membayatab kot nenywanet David Kiarao komiten anan komite nekirubeiwotab kandoindetab emoni eng kasarage Rigathi Gachagua ak kandoik alak ne inendet kora ko kandoindet notok nebo chamait notok nebo DCP kaindochin tetutiet notok nekaak eng Olkalau county notok nebo Nyandarua.
But Senator John Medhu, for all practical purposes, is a member of DCP, and he will start acting from today as the Secretary General designate and be the spokesman, the spokesperson of the DCP party on all matters starting today. In due course, in the fullness of time, his name will be forwarded to the registrar of political parties so that he is registered as a duly appointed Secretary General of DCP. The National Executive Council has given Senator John Medhu, the Secretary General designate, his first assignment, that he, together with the Honorable Ajiko Mohia, the MP for Kipipiri, and other leaders, to take charge of the by-elections in Kalau and deliver a decisive victory to the DCP party on the elections scheduled for 16th of July. The party has also reviewed the progress and growth of our party, and NEC is very happy that thousands of aspirants have shown interest and registered with the party with the intention of flying the party's flag in the next general election. And we want to assure our aspirants who have indicated interest that the party will hold free and fair nominations as it happened during the nominations for the Kalau by-election.
Ketekyike county nebo Bomet ko kaimongei kiptainikab kokwotinwek chemiten Itembe sub location eng watitab Nyangores eng kot neking'ate ng'atutik nebo Chebalungu county nebo Bomet akocher neranik komat koyan keboisien ichek eng oret nemanyolu eng polatet mising ko yekitokchinigei emoni campaigns chebo lewenishet no ole koitechi kora kandoik komat koyan polatet eng oret nemanyolu.
Kong'alali kan kowang tuyenywan en kokwetab Metipso nemiten Nyangores ward ne kaindochin nebo ng'echeret en kokwetab boisiechoton nechoele cheruyot komwa ichek kole kit nekokoyai mising neranik keboisien en oret nemakararan akore yautik chemanyolu cheboto chemarget mising ko kasarta nebo campaigns ko boisietab maiwek ak kerichekab bokitet.
En somikab kura akichek chesome candidates kokisome kora vijanaekyok asikoi kora chemakinome keboisien en or age nemanoto kai kele kokure kora tuguk cheu chemarget ko chemakimoche en emoni nyon.
Kainain ko Chelieruyot, chairman nebo boisiekab kok en Itembe sub location. Kiptoi kora chuton ikere chutile sumek akobikire yoe tuguk chebo kwong'ut akoyote bangik koyote maiywek komakiyoni en tuguk cheyoe. Nguni kachut ng'alekab siasa chemuche kong'et biik alak chekere kole moroisi kosich ng'echerani kwal Kiptoi choton sikoat buchoinik en elebunote. Tuguk chemakiyoni kabisa en Bomet county mzima. Kimoche kalyet. Chito age tugul nekakonyo som ng'echeret koyoche kosom en kalyet. Chito nekakelewen kemoe kora kobur en kenyisiek chomut kora en kalyet kot kwo komie en tekisto tugul neyome.
Richard Arap Sitiene boyob kok nebo Chemnyaliliat. Atechini kora vijana aleni obakakte ng'alekab maiywek, ng'alekab bangik, ng'alekab yeiset nemi barak. Yeiset nemi barak yomi kandoik cheechen ko nekaiye komatetewe komatewe koronon. ko ateleli en stationit nguni ko katulizani ngalekab vijana mat keyai siasa en oret neya. Ko biik akichek chekoito ngalekab siasa kokochin vijana komatokochi vijana rabinik ak ityo imwochi ngalek chemochobot. Ngalekab rabinik ikochi rabinik biik chekakong'yo cheu echek chemuche kwo boisien en gaa ak kotoreten lagok. Matin nyokolenjin vijana konon chanjuk kotor koit icheru iman kandoindet nesome ng'echeret iman ilelen kotor icheru lenokoi chachik chekomiono. Menyoru biik chekakong'yo ak inyoru biik cherurukok ak iyai kit nebo maana en yoton ak ityo isom kit neyochini biik ak iyochi kioton iman.
Mi kityo nekakikere ak chuto chu mengech akichek konamen MCAs akoi senator kokimoche kora kikochi nafas nekararan kotai koit betut nebo lewenisiet en kenyitab 2027 kebe keamuan hasa vijanaek kokere tindo kibondok alake ako ibote kotomo koyai kora koik birikab kura. Kokikimite mising nam kibandanang'ung iigun birindet nebo kura asingoite betutab lewenisiet kokoigu chito nekere ile kandoindet ainon nenomegei kondoiseun.
Kaimengei mung'aret nebo aldaetab maiywek nekokalany barak en taonit nebo Kapkwen ole kasom kotakechuchuch noton ole kamwa kole kokoyai noton neranik ak lagok chemengechen kometo sukul ak kochutyi boisietab maiywek choton.
Ane kokekurenon Richard Arap Rotich agenge en village managers ameng'une karibu Kapkwen market. Somenyun ale biik department chekoito lesenisiekab maiywek kostewechin maiywek chekaborwech lagok en Kapkwen kabisa. Mekomi lakwet nekilelen takwendi sukul, kijanaek komekobendi sukul. Wendi ngobore kait uyan yono kilasit mait ot 4-5 kokakotropen ak konyokoe maiywek ak koe sigaret. Kokisom ine kele ndapukose kostewech kabisa maiywek en Kapkwen kabisa. Ako kongoi amun Kapkwen ko ndonyo, tinye ndonyo neo kabisa. Kekere kora ngobore koyai biik ndonyo koui ngalekab maiywek.
Koboisien kasaratan kosom kandoik chebo Bomet kosuldaen koyomisutik chekikoyomis biikab emet.
Ko asome akane kandoikyok chebo Bomet kou kandoikyok chuto chemi Bomet chebo Chebalungu age Chebalungu kesome tuguk chon kikopromisenech kole aywech en chemnyaliliet kokwenyun komatinye sitimet ako kikipromisenech mesimwa nenyon mandasi kole nyon koyoywech.
Ko en yoniton ko koketelel tugul boisiek ak chepyosok kemwochi lagochu choket mengechen kelei obwat kora komie amun president nenyonet komakichomdoi kimi keribe kikochini heshima tugul en kasartanyin newendi kondoiywech akot en kenyitab nenyone kora kekere kora koyomegei yetogunen boisionik.
Kosom kora kandoichoton kokushikong magutik chebo kiptainikab kokwet chekamwa kole yoe boisiet neo kobaten tomo kekushikong ichek.
Ko nibuch echek boisiekab kok kisome kora serikalit asikobit president nenyon nemiten ng'echeret ako makichomdoi sikokushikong boisiekab kok akoker melekto nekanyolu kokochi kiy ak kokochi ot kou uniform chengwendi akaba ketekisi en ele kaba kenai kele tinye uniform bo serikali. Ako kitekisin en sobet kotemi ot yekaiwerita ketekisin kora kotiengei boisiet nekiitinye.
Asome kora kandoichon nemamutech ot besio echek boisiek kibakekat president en ele mi. Amune simamutech kandoichu kikamwoe kandoichu buch amamutech kibakekat president.
Ripotechin Yasai TV kong'eten kokwet nebo Metipso nemiten wardit nebo Nyangores en Chebalungu. Kainenyin ko Isaiah Kiplangat.
Kongoi mising sirindenyo Isaiah Kiplangat kong'eteke county nebo Bomet ketokchinigei county nebo Nandi ole kakosom anan kakokon kurset kwonyik anan kamatik chenootin kou Inua Mama Chenga Taifa en county notok nebo Nandi ak kondochin Stella Wandoe koityi serikali nebo kokimit kalyetab president nebo emoni Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Kabinito kosubkei ak nekokotestai kebaorionji biik eng komoswek cheterter korwochin president kasarta neisuldoen notok neisuldoen ng'ololutikyik eng emoni.
Kong'ololi eng kokwetab Msembejo nemite kot neng'ate ng'atutik nebo Embwen eng county nebo Nandi komwa kwonyichoto kole kakimitetab afisaekab ripsetab kalyet komaimuch kokon walutik eng ripsetab president kobate kakimit kole nyolu komitei tetutik chekimen asikomuch kokimit ripsetab president.
Kitu ambacho kilinishtua hata zaidi ni ule kijana vile alivyokuja na hizo mbio, alikimbia na hata akaenda akamrukia boss, akamrukia rais kwa shingo. Naona akabembea na yeye na shingo yake. Nikaona wote kama wanaenda chini. Hiyo ilinishtua sana. Shida kubwa ambayo inatokea hapo ni kwamba hawa watu wanahitaji pia kupumzika. Wakiwa katika ziara kama hiyo ndefu, nafikiri badala ya watu timu hiyo kwa moja, labda kungekuwa timu ingine inaingia kwa masaa fulani, ingine inatoka, ingine. Yani security sizoeleke na wananchi. Inapozoeleka hata inakuwa rahisi wao pia wana relax na watoto wanafanya nini? Wanarukia pale.
Naikemea kabisa. Haswa mimi si kulala hata iliniuma zaidi kwa sababu imekuwa mazoeo kwa watu wenye wanachunga president wameacha. Wamesahau kazi yao ya kufanya. Wamesahau kulinda president.
Maneno yenye ilitokezea hatukufurahia kama wamama. Tulisikia ujungu sana. Juu tukiwacha watu ikae style hiyo, tunaona haistahili juu maisha ya president iko pali babaya sana. Kama watu haina heshima kwa mtu mkubwa, president alichaguliwa na Mungu.
Kates kokon kurset koityi mornet netelelchin ripsetab kalyet nebo kobit walutik eng afisaek cheribe president asikomuch kobit ripsetab president eng emoni. Akot kounotok kokamwa kwonyichoto kole ripsetab president konyolu keipchi kamanut mising eng kasari tesetai korikyingei president ak biikab emet.
Kwa sababu changamoto ambazo hawa vijana wanazopitia na wale wote ambao wanataka kupeleka ujumbe kwa rais. Ujumbe huu kuna vitengo mbalimbali ambavyo vinachukua ndio viweze kufikisha pale. Lakini kwa sababu wale ambao wako chini hawapatii nafasi hawa vijana na kuwapatia masikio na kuwasikiza, bila shaka ndo tunaona hali kama zile zinaendelea.
Lakini kuna shida tu mahali moja. Viongozi ambaye tuliwachagua walio mamlakani ambao ni daraja ya raia hawana nafasi kuongea na raia, kusikiza mambo ambayo inawasumbua raia, hasa vijana wetu.
Kwamba kungeteuliwa jopo fulani ambalo hilo jopo wakati rais anapokuja mahali kama hapo, kunakuwa na hilo jopo la kuchukua mawazo na ya hawa vijana wetu, kile wanachofikiria, ile changamoto walioko nayo. Watu wanaendelea kuandika hizo shida, hizo points zenye ambazo hawa wanapitia. Then before president aondoke, bila shaka anatenga dakika kama 3 kumiti hao wenye ambao walikuwa wameleta hizo changamoto, anazisort out. Hatuwezi pata pressure kama hizi.
Kama maisha ya president iko hatarini, sisi kama raia maisha yetu iko namna gani? Ni vibaya sana kusikia kwamba president anaweza fanyiwa kitendo kama kile.
Eng logoiwekab emet chebo Asite TV Kenya, kainenyu ko Jerotich Korir.
Ak eng logoiwek alak ko kaiaror minista nebo somanet eng emoni Mikos Okamba keret netinye serikalitab emoni nebo kokanapta serikali somanet. Kong'ololi ine eng sukulitab secondary nebo Nyandarua ole kaindochi igorta nebo betutab somanet ak kailos ine kipsomaninik chekinyor walutik chemyach eng tiemutikab kenyitab 2025. Kamite koboto minista nebo kiprutoinotet Rebecca Miano ak sirindet nebo ministry nebo ortinwek engineer Joseph Mbukwa.
As you are aware, the first cohort of the CBE is now in grade 10 of senior school. In fact, you saw some of them here presenting today. I'm pleased to report to you that we recorded a very high transition rate at over 99%. Competency-based education is focused not just on inculcating competencies, but also in identifying and developing talents in our learners.
Our students, as we celebrate you here today, allow me to remind you that success is not a single thunderclap. Please, every morning, embrace your humility, embrace your discipline, and embrace your hard work, and that will be okay.
Wale ambao wametuimbia hapa grade 10 is the first pioneer transition to senior school. And I want to thank all the stakeholders for managing that pioneer transition. Tumetembea sisi kama interior na washikadau wote kuhakikisha kwamba that transition is 100%.
Keweke kaunti nebo Nandi ko kagomongei alag eng kamatik eng nganasetab Kapsabet kaunti nebo Nandi akosome serikalitab emoni kocheng oret neboisien ichek kokimiti ripsetab lagok chemengechen chebendi sukul. Nitok ko kosubkei ak lagok chebetos ak chekibeten sobet chekokebaorionji mising eng emoni ole kamwa ichek kole ikochin notok sigik koimutik.
Serikali iweze kuongeza mikakati ya namna ya kuchunga hawa watoto wa shule, labda kuwe na namna vile wazazi wanaweza kuchukua watoto wao badala ya kuongoja watoto watembee. Mtoto akiwa mzazi hajakuja kumpika kutoka shule, basi mtoto abaki shuleni.
Imekuwa mtindo pia, nimeona kuna pale mtoto wa 14 years anatumwa kuchukua watoto ya watu ambao ni mtindo mbaya sana. Tunaona ni mambo yenye inatendeka kwa nchi kwa sasa ambayo haifurahishi watu. Tumeikataa kabisa.
Viongozi ambaye tuliwachagua walio mamlakani ambao ni daraja ya raia hawana nafasi kuongea na raia, kusikiza mambo ambayo inawasumbua raia, hasa vijana wetu. Kiangalia huyo kijana alikuwa kijana mdogo ambaye tu alikuwa anahitaji usaidizi.
Eng logoiwek alak ko kakecher sirindet nebo sukulitab muswoknotet Esther Muhoria kipsomaninik komongei eng chongindo ak kosirgei eng sukulishekab muswoknotet. Kong'ololi Esther eng ofisinyi komwa ine kole sukulishek chotok komo kakwautietab oeng kou ole kiu eng kasarage.
Tell parents very, very loudly that nobody is a failure. There is no parent or guardian who should be able to pronounce to the young people that you have failed. Nobody fails. It is about acquiring, because we are all not crafted for academics so that everybody has to go to the university or you're only a success if you're progressing to the university. No, we are all differently abled, we are all differently gifted, and therefore the pathway that you choose is the pathway that you progress to. So it is, and the TVET has got all the trainings, all manner of crafts and professions that you'd want to learn.
Ak eng logoiwek alak ko kakomach biikab boror kokimit ripsetab itondab emet asikotoret korib itondab emet ak koistoengei kaimutik chotok cheibu itondab emet. Notok ko itondab emet nitok ko kosubkei ak 4K Club nebo sukulitab primary eng kaunti nebo Bungoma ole koimongei kipsomaninik ak konetik ak komin ketik ko agenge nebo korib itondab emet.
Passion is to plant trees with the right knowledge, planting trees that tomorrow we see and we enjoy. Yeah. So we work very hard to do the right thing so that tomorrow we can continue. That's why we ask even partners so that we can be able to have manure, we can be able to have even water after we plant, and also the manpower.
We are having a 15 billion national target of trees by our president, and for us to achieve this we need all hands on board. So we call upon partners to invest in the teachers so that they can invest in the children, because you can imagine the number of children in Kenya, they're in tens of millions. So if each child can do a tree or two, then we'll be closer to the mark of 15 billion trees.
I've learned that every step matters, every detail matters for the successful planting of trees. So we have come here at this place called Kimwanga. At least we have planted trees together with the pupils. We have had that practical activity of planting the very trees. This one is very much important, especially to our learners. They say that early grade is very much important to learn a skill.
Ketokchike Malindi ko kakotoi sigik ak konetik chebo nganasetab Malindi campaigns chebo kayaptaetab ortinwek che kistoengei rarunetab kalyet ak atepto ne makararan eng sukulishek ole kayaak notok eng oret nebo urerioshek che terter. Kosubkei ak ichek ko kamwa kole tokyin nebo urerionotok ko kinoisechi kipsomaninik akobo asenet neibu boisietab kerichekab bokitet ak ingelenotet eng sukul kou bonwekab oret eng atkain kora.
Is very important because it helps students use their time well and not to indulge in things that are not useful to them. For example, drugs and all those. It also helps like bring unity amongst other schools and reduce cases of student unrest and helping in students using their leisure time well.
Nidhamu ni kitu kikubwa sana. So ukiona kuna watoto labda nidhamu yao si nzuri, huwa ni kwa sababu ya yale ni malezi alafu pia vile environment vile iko. So akifanya michezo utapata kwamba akishafundishwa kwamba kuna rules, kuna sheria ambazo lazima zifuatwe, watapeleka kule nyumbani katika mienendo yao itakuwa mizuri.
As per now, as we realize, we have an increase in the issue of the crime rate here in Malindi. We also have increase in the drug abuse and also drug addiction here in Malindi. And the main purpose why we organize this activity is to create awareness of these issues and also to make our children busy so that they don't engage in these activities.
Katika michezo, watoto wanafunzwa kwamba kuna kupata na kupoteza. Wanafunzwa kwamba kuna kulose na kuwin. So katika hayo mafunzo watoto wanakuwa wakijua kwamba katika maisha nitapata na nitakosa.
Yotok chitab Kalenjin kokakeit let nebo logoiwekab emet nekoibwo ko Gladys Lembuch not magun betut notok nemie. Testai iker Asai TV ketesiet neituitos bororiet.